And you heard him mention Mario Joseph, one of Haiti's most prominent human rights attorneys. Well, for more on this issue, we spoke with Mario Joseph, who for years has fought for the rights of political prisoners, including many opponents of the 2004 coup that ousted Haiti's democratically elected president, Jean-Bertrand Aristide. Mario Joseph's current clients include Ronald Dauphin, an activist with Aristide's Lavalas party, who was arrested by armed paramilitary troops one day after the coup. Dauphin was held without charge up until last week, when the National Penitentiary in Port-au-Prince collapsed, freeing him and the 4,000 other prisoners inside. Mario Joseph began the interview by describing his role as an attorney. He's translated by Haiti Liberté's Kim Ives.
My name is Mario Joseph.
C'est avocat défenseur des droits de l'homme.
I'm a human rights lawyer.
Et je travaille avec prisonniers politiques, avec gens qui sont pauvres et qui veulent les droits en Haïti.
I work with political prisoners in the poorest country, the poorest people in the country.
The prison is empty now. Can you talk about the significance of that?
Et yo dit en français,
They say in French,
à quelque chose malheur bon.
for some things, bad things are good.
Et je pense peut-être catastrophe là qui fait un pile danger, dommage pour Haïti.
I think this catastrophe, which did a lot of damage in Haiti,
Et peut-être rendre justice à prisonniers ou bien prisonniers politiques.
it's released. Dis ça encore?
Et catastrophe ça, et tremblement de terre.
This earthquake.
Et semblait faire justice à gens qui sont en prison.
It gave justice to the people in the prison.
Et particulièrement prisonniers politiques, tant que Ronald Dauphin.
Above all, the political prisoners like Ronald Dauphin.
Et ça va le faire environ, dans le mois de mars, là, premier mars, ça fait Ronald Dauphin. Ça va faire Ronald Dauphin 6 ans et en prison sans qu'il n'ait pas de charge, il ne peut jamais juger.
And this will make 6 years since Ronald Dauphin has been in prison without charges, without ever being charged.
Et non seulement Ronald Dauphin, mais il y a un pile d'autres monde.
Not only Ronald Dauphin, but a lot of other people
Qui sont en prison,
who are in
si
prison.
ils étaient jugés déjà. Ils ont déjà quitté prison en longtemps.
They would have, if they judged them, they would have left prison a long time ago.
Le fait que
Ronald Dauphin, why was he put in prison?
Bon, Ronald Dauphin en prison, c'est
Ronald Dauphin is in prison.
pour question un événement qui passait dans la Syrie, dans Saint-Marc avant
An incident that
l'État a été fait là.
An incident that happened in La Syrie in St. Mark before the coup d'etat.
Je voulais parler du coup d'État 29 février 2004 là.
We're talking about the coup d'etat of February 29, 2004.
Et c'est un dossier qui est typiquement politique.
It's a typically political dossier.
Et parce que les gens qui ont fait coup d'État,
Because the people who made the coup d'etat,
juger certains gens qui étaient pré-régime et président Aristide là.
because the people who made the coup d'etat wanted to judge some of the people close to the government of Jean-Bertrand Aristide.
Et comme ça, le gouvernement Canada a l'argent
And
et
that's how
l'organisation NCHR
the government of Canada gave money to an organization called NCHR, National Coalition for Haitian Rights.
Bon, moi c'est non ça me connaît parce que il change non et parce que branche New York là et dit yo pas j'ai fonctionner pas fonctionner sous même nom.
They changed their name because they said after that they couldn't use the function under the same name.
Et il y a le réseau national et défense droits moun en Haïti.
Now they're called the National Network of Defending Rights in Haiti.
Bon, changer nom pas veut dire que yo changer attitude yo rien.
Changing the name doesn't mean they've changed their attitudes.
Yo te monté dossier, yo te monté un dossier et comme ça yo te mettre en pile monde en prison et tant coup
They put together a dossier, and that's how they put a lot of people in prison.
tant que premier ministre Yvon Neptune,
Like the Prime Minister Yvon Neptune,
ministre intérieur et Jocelyn Prévert,
the Interior Minister Jocelyn Prévert,
et député Amanis Mayette,
and Deputy Amanis Mayette,
et Ronald
Dauphin,
et un pile l'autre monde était en prison.
and a lot of other people were in prison.
So talk about who gets put in prison. How long do they stay? How many of them had not been charged?
Et jusqu'à présent,
Up until now,
pas rien qui jamais passé parce que jamais gain charge.
nothing has happened because there haven't been any
Mais
charges.
pour certains monde tant que premier ministre là,
But for certain people like the Prime Minister,
suivant constitution article 186,
according to the Constitution 186,
il n'est pas capable de juger dans un tribunal ordinaire
he
parce que
can't
c'est
be
un monde qui est
judged
politique.
in an ordinary court
Malgré
because
nous
he's
fait bruit, nous
political.
te dit dit ça, mais yo te kembel dans prison même pour 25 mois.
But even though we said that, they kept him in prison for 25 months.
Et après inauguration président Préval, il y a certains monde
After the inauguration of President Preval, there were certain people
et yo mette dehors tant que ministre intérieur.
which they freed, like the Interior Minister,
Tant que ancien député Amanis Mayet.
like former Deputy Amanis
Mais
Mayet.
jusqu'à présent, yo kembe Ronaldo fait en prison.
But up until now, they kept Ronald
Peut-être parce
Dauphin
que
in prison
il était plus petit, il pas de gen nom et c'est ça système
because he was
exclusion
less
en
well
Haïti.
known. And that's the system of exclusion in Haiti.
Explain how many people haven't been charged who were in prison, how many people were there without trial.
Et généralement, dans prison en Haïti,
Generally, in the Haitian prisons,
tout le monde d'accord, il y a près de 80% moun yo qui dans prison yo,
everybody
yo
agrees
pas chargé.
that there are about 80% of the people are not charged.
Et c'est seulement anti-crasse, soit 10%
It is only
qui condamné.
a few, maybe 10%, which are
l'autre 10%
convicted.
et qu'après tant une ordonnance pour que vous ayez dans le tribunal. Mais ça va il prend
And
plus le temps.
those are waiting in order to be sent to
Et contrairement à la
court.
loi en Haïti, parce que c'est seulement ça, ça fait 3 mois. Et j'aime ça tout à l'heure, on a le gagner 6 ans le premier master.
And that's supposed to be done in 3 months, and he's been waiting 6 years. He's never been judged.
Toute prison, c'est
In
près
all
de
the prisons,
90% moun yo
80
pas passé,
90%
beaucoup jugé.
are not judged, are not even charged.
Bon, ça c'est dans le système non.
That's in the system, and that's what I'm telling you.
Événement ça, tremblement de
This
terre.
event, this earthquake,
justice.
it's
avec moun
justice
qui sont en prison.
with getting the people out of jail.
L'autre bagage je capable dire.
The other thing I can say, in Haiti,
symbolique.
we have a symbolic.
Par exemple, palais qui crasé, palais
The
justice.
palace that
DGI.
went down, the Palace of Justice, the Haitian IRS,
Et pouvoir l'État.
and the whole power of the state.
Et ça veut dire c'est un message qui voyait parce
This
que
was like a message that was sent,
et pas seulement moun qui sont en prison qui vivent injustice là.
because it wasn't just the people in prison who were suffering
Moun
injustice,
qui plus pauvre dans le pays
but
qui
the poorest in the country,
décision
the
pays.
excluded in the
Ça veut
country.
dire me penser son message qui clair.
This, I think it was a clear
Yo
message.
voyez ba et c'est un symbolique nous comprendre qu'il y a gouvernement moun qui
It was
est
a
chef dans le pays ça.
symbolic thing for the people who are the chiefs in the country and the government
Comment pour servir peuple là
to know how to serve the people,
et pour suspendre avec un système d'exclusion qu'il a depuis 200 ans.
to stop the exclusionary system which was there for 200 years.
And yet so many people died, poor Haitians simply died.
Yeah. Et c'est ça, il y a un pile monde
Yes.
haïtien moun yo qui pauvre,
It is true that many of the poorest people, they died.
Et c'est vrai, il y a un pile monde qui bien connaît, qui a une bonne éducation.
It is true that many people
faculté linguistique là, il y a un pile
who
monde encore qui mourit.
who had good education, directors who also died.
Mais il frappait plus monde qui plus pauvre yo, parce
But
que
it hit primarily the poorest people
yo même yo pas de gain un bon cas, yo pas de gain un bon côté.
because they didn't have good houses. They didn't have good places and security where they
Et
lived.
je pensais, Jean, tremblement de terre frappé, n'ont pas fait discrimination, même si monde
The way
plus
the
touché.
earthquake hit, it didn't discriminate.
Mais sont bon exemple pour nous suivre
That's
en
a
Haïti
good
et
example
pour nous
for us to look
suspendre
at in
avec
Haiti.
situation exclusion.
And stop with this exclusionary system.
C'est vrai qu'il y a pile monde qui pauvre yo puis touché.
It's true, a lot of poor people were touched by
Mais
this,
ni monde qui gagne gros caillou, ni monde qui gagne petit caillou, tout le monde a dormi dans la rue.
but even people with big houses or small houses, everybody's living in the street now.
C'est une bonne raison pour nous suspendre le système d'exclusion, pour nous entrer,
This is
inclure tout le
why
monde
we
et
have
faire
to
monde
begin
participer.
in the system of exclusion for everybody to
Là, c'est un message
participate in the country's
pour
life.
le gouvernement haïtien qui généralement encore lent et dans bail et Dieu n'a fait arriver côté qui plus pauvre.
And this is the message I would send to the Haitian government, which is always slow to send it to the poorest
Par
people.
exemple, avant hier,
Aid.
That was Mario Joseph, Haitian human rights attorney, speaking to us in Port-au-Prince late yesterday. I want to issue a special thanks to my colleagues as we stood together and reported together through these days in Haiti, to Sharif Abdel-Qadoos, to Elizabeth Press, to Kim Ives, who worked with us from Haiti Liberté. Tomorrow we'll bring you a special on the journey from Port-au-Prince to Léogâne, really the epicenter of the earthquake. The question being asked everywhere, if the aid is at the airport, if all of these countries are working so hard to bring in people from search and rescue to water to food, why is it that the Haitian people have largely felt untouched by that support? This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. We'll be back in a minute.